Hey, Gary here with you. AI blogging day 36. I think you're going to find this update quite fascinating. We're going to jump into Google Search Console. I want to start with the fact that we have 49 pages indexed. And I want to scroll down and I want to take a look at currently not indexed or crawled, currently not indexed. You'll see here post or the post astronomy for beginners. And then it has www.universeunriddled.com post astronomy for beginners. But this post is actually indexed. If you click here to retrieve the Google or the data for the Google index, you'll see the URL is on Google. The page is indexed. Page is usable on mobile. Anyway, that is quite fascinating. The simple fact that you simply just have these page indexing issues that you can't seem to get rid of, or you just have to wait out. Of course, this is day 36. Here we go, discovered, crawled, currently not indexed. Let's take a look at these. Here you can see these, and the time that it says they were last crawled just says NA. Then if you scroll up here and you look at validation and you click see details, you can just see that they're pending. Then you hover over pending and it says queued for validation. The last time Google looked, this issue instance still exists. Google will check each item listed here and mark it as pass, failed, or other. So again, you're just stuck when you're doing blogging, creating content, putting it on a blog. You're just stuck waiting for these pages to index, for Google to say yes, no, maybe, just to pick something and say, okay, we're going to index these or we're not going to index these. And then even when they fail, they don't really tell you why. That's not really that fascinating other than frustrating, but I just wanted to share that piece before we dive into the part that I think you'll find fascinating. Now, this is inside of Koala, and you can see here I've simply just searched for the word fascinating, and you can see that it is, or that it appears 5 times in this post. Now, that is a problem with the AI just grabbing onto a word and then just using it, being repetitive. It's one of the things that the AI detectors use or latch onto is the fact that once the AI starts writing, it finds this rhythm and it just gets repetitive and it just reuses things. In this case, the word fascinating. Of course, here we can click on details and you can remember or note that this is written by GPT 3.5 in Koala. And the reason we're doing that inside of Koala is honestly just because of the credit system. But the thought process came to me of let's take this over to GPT-4 and ask it, if I give you a blog post, can you find the repetitive language or writing and show it to me and explain why and what made you choose it? ChatGPT comes back and says, sure, I can help with that. Please share the blog post you'd like me to analyze. Once I have the text, I'll identify repetitive language and explain my reasoning by choosing those specific elements. Now, I did feed it the blog post, but I was a little disappointed because after I fed it the blog post, what came back was this. It was just another paragraph, and I was confused. So I simply just said, where's my explanation? Apologies for the confusion. Could you please clarify which part of the text you would like further explanation on? So then it goes into, or it gives me the feedback of, you didn't explain yourself well enough. And I said, okay, well, let me explain it again. And then I said, say Pete and repeat. And it said it understands the question and then provide the blog post, which I did. And then I was a little happier with my output because at this point, it actually broke down and gave me some suggestions on how to make the content better. Remember, we're focusing on the word fascinating or this idea of repetition and the way the AI sort of latched onto this word and just kept using it. Now, I didn't mention that, the word fascinating specifically. That was just the word that I found and I was fascinated by, and now I'm latched onto the word fascinating. But you can see and understand that it gave me some suggestions. So what I did is I just used its suggestion of the fact that it gave me suggestions. And I said, okay, make it better based on your suggestions. Certainly, I've edited the post to make it more engaging and added some transitions for improved flow. Here is the revised blog post. Then I did follow up with another question. How does the old blog post and new post compare in word count, and what grade reading level will they both be at? And you can see the answer here. It's interesting. I would suggest you pause and read that. I'm not really going to go into that at this stage because I want to go back and look at the blog post here that it wrote, that it is written for us based on its suggestions. So to make this a little bit more reader friendly, I went ahead and clicked copy. Then I went into WordPress and I simply pasted it in as HTML so you could see it. But the idea here is I did a search for the keyword fascinating, and you can see fascinating in this rewrite of the blog post is only used one time. If you were to pause and to read this and compare it to the other blog post, the blog post that is live, this one from Koala, the amazing facts about terrestrial planets you need to know, where it used the word fascinating 5 times in this article, and then having ChatGPT rewrite it. Again, this is just so you can see it a little bit better if you want to read it, and the fact that it only used the word fascinating one time. Also, if you go back and you take a look at the suggestions based on what it actually suggested after it analyzed the text that I gave it, based upon this idea of it being repetitive, it gave some really good insights here when it talked about, or it got into the second paragraph, the technical accuracy and level of detail in this post are commendable. Of course, it wrote it, so it might be commending itself, but that's, again, another idea. However, you might want to simplify some of the more complex concepts to make them more accessible to a general audience. For instance, you could provide a more basic explanation of the concept of a habitable zone, and I slaughtered that word, or simplify the discussion about the formation of planets. Also, be sure to provide references for the sources of information, especially when discussing ongoing space missions or recent discoveries. Lastly, while your conclusion provides a good summary, it would be nice to end with a statement that encourages further exploration or inquiry from your readers. This could be a thought-provoking question, a mention of upcoming space missions, or speculation about the future of space exploration. Overall, this is an excellent blog post that clearly demonstrates a deep understanding of the topic. With a few minor adjustments, it could be even better. And again, I just ask it to make it better based on its suggestions, and I think it did. Again, here's the blog post. And the most fascinating thing, or the thing that I want you to take away, is that it got rid of that repetitive thing that I found when I was editing this and reading this. There was something, and I was like, something's not right. And then I looked and I was like, this word keeps appearing, fascinating. Now, the AI didn't actually show me that. It just showed me that based upon the new written text, as I was reading it, I was able to key on that word, because after I'd read the other posts, and then let me show you here inside of Groove Blog, this post, Asteroid Fun Facts, Interesting Worlds of Asteroids, you can see here, this was written by Koala as well, and we'll go back and take a look at that, but you can see fascinating is used in this blog post, which is a good blog post, but you can see the word fascinating again is used 5 times inside of this blog post. Again, go back to Koala, and if we were to scroll down here, you can see Asteroid Fun Facts, and when this post loads up, you can see here again, the word fascinating is repeated inside of this copy. Again, I'll close this and click on details, and you can see again ChatGPT 3 or GPT version 3.5 is latching onto this word fascinating, and it used it again and again and again. And as I've been creating and tracking these blog posts in my spreadsheet, you can see all these posts were written by Koala or Koala Bulk, but it's all Koala or Koala, the interface to GPT 3.5. And as I've been reading and editing these, this repetitive thing kept falling, or I kept hearing this thing as I'm reading or seeing this word and not really realizing it, and the word being fascinating. So I wanted to share this update and the fact that it was quite interesting or fascinating in that I saw this repetitive instance, and I really wasn't clear on it. So I went back to GPT and ChatGPT and used 4 and fed it the blog post. It didn't actually hit the word I was looking for. I was hoping that by asking it, I think, again, if you utilize the correct prompt, you can get to where you want it to be. For example, repetitive words or words that are used over and over, something like that, to try to analyze that and break it down. But just based on the fact that I was asking or taking the time to give ChatGPT the content and say, look, I'm looking for something that makes this repetitive. Can you make this better? Can you give me suggestions? That's the power of what we're doing here. The power of using AI as the assistant, and the power of doing this case study is just realizing something's not right. Even if I was buying this content or writing this content myself, most likely, either me as the writer, or if I was to just hire one writer to do this, it's going to probably do the same thing that happens to ChatGPT. It's going to fall into a rhythm. It's going to get repetitive, and it might have a word like fascinating that it just loves to use, or the writer loves to use, or that I love to use. Because I know there are certain words that I say a lot. I get repetitive and I repeat myself, and it becomes a habit. I think ChatGPT can fall into this as well, or any AI, because again, it's just a language model and it's just trying to find a way to say a thing. And once it gets into a rhythm, it can find these words, or you can find these words over and over, or these phrases over and over. When you're reading them and editing them, you'll see them. And sometimes you just need to pause and take it back to the AI and say, hey, check this out. Give me some suggestions on how to make this better. And then take those suggestions, or once ChatGPT makes those suggestions to you, and simply just tell the AI, hey, thanks for the suggestions. It's great information. Now apply those suggestions. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I appreciate all your comments and the time that you take to let me know that this is helpful. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.